All right, this is Brother Mike Rowland or Brother Mikey, my handle on the energetic forum, and I'm going to be showing you some tests. I'm showing you a motor generator with no coil on it. Now I want to show you the split positive arrangement with like these batteries right here. That's just a few $100 worth of batteries. You need $1,000 worth of batteries to show a split positive on that motor to do it properly. But I'm going to do it anyways one of these times. I'm going to get a few more batteries up here. All I need, you'll see what I need when I show you this amp draw. You see that? Let's see if we can get the light right. See that? And I also want to, there's no amps pulling yet. It's an amp clamp, and it's not zeroed out, but it's pretty close, and you'll see the amp draw here in a minute of the apparatus with a new motor, another motor. It's got a clutch on it. I've been trying to get the rattle out of it, and I'm doing good. You'll hear. And I've got this rotor. It's like Thane Heins rotor, where he's got like 24 magnets on a little wheel, and then it's hooked to a C-core. My coil is a C-core, and it fits right here. So you have to say, in some respects, I'm following Thane Heins' mechanical design. But there's a lot of people doing this too, and have been for years. But that's who I saw, and that's who I followed at first. Then there's another gentleman, or two or three, on the energetic forum that I've been getting advice from for winding my coils. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. I adjusted this table, and I'm doing this for me because I want to remember what the amp draw of this test is going to be, and what it looks like, and what my motor was, and all that down the road. It's hard to remember all these tests. Okay, so I'm going to plug this in right here, and then I'll show you the amp draw. And the table is not vibrating. Ready, go. Hear that? Oh, there's your amp draw. Whoop. I messed up. Let me start over. I messed up there. My meter is not responding, and I want to show you that. Okay, I want to show it from a cold stop. Okay, ready to try it again? Okay, I'm going to plug it in and go. See that? Like 2-point slipping. See, it's 3 for a second, then it's 2.5, and it's slipping. There it goes, and the amp draw changes. Listen to the sound. Smooth that is. That's smooth. I dialed in the table. Oh, let's say I want to make another test. Okay, so I want to make another test, right? So I have to stop it, and then I have to start it. I have to stop and start, and stop and start, and stop and start. See? That's the problem. You're going to burn the crap out of these motors if you're stopping and starting them. You got no clutch. And that's the nature of testing. You got to stop and start constantly. Now let me show you something else I'm working on too. And we'll do that again here in a second. Now I've been working on this this thing here. It's a terminal block. It's a lot nicer terminal block. And this is made out of Schedule 80 PVC, so you can screw right into the edge. You can screw right into the edge of that, which I have done on this side. You'll see I can mount this, and this plate here is fiberglass. So when I solder, I can clean these terminals, and I can well, I'm gonna put shrink wrap on each one of these tabs, and the way it'll work out better is that I'll have 8 here and 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 8 here. There's 24, right? So there's 24. Actually, the input would be 8, and 8 is 16, and 24. This half would be the input of the coil, and this other half would be the output. So I could do 8 strands in here and 8 strands out there, and I could get a direct connection across here without all a jumbled up mess of spaghetti. Better planning, you know. And there's a bug flying around my camera here. I guess they're following my voice. And this one would be in, and this strip would be out, so I could take and go around this way and over and make a real nice path. And I'm about to go mark this all out, right? So I'm going to mount this upright, like, you know, mount it up somewhere really nice. Okay, so now let's go back in, and I'm probably gonna do like not gonna let it run up to 800 volts all the time. I'm gonna have some kind of resistor on it that's always in sort of a regen mode. I don't want to burn up my diodes, my bridge rectifiers, and I don't know. I got to keep that coil that's a 800-900 volt coil, or 1000 or whatever. I got to keep it down because I'm going to be using it. I really need to rewind one, and I'm going to, but I still like to play with this one. Okay, now you ready again? Now I oiled it, and I got oil spatter. So there's oil spatter right here. So I got to create a guard on here. So if I do oil it, that clutch, once in a while for startups, I don't splatter my all my electronics. Okay, or I could resort to a different type of shoe that wouldn't need that. Okay, so here I want to start it up again one more time for you and listen to it. All right, and you can see the amp draw. It's like 300 or 400 milliamps more when I got the coil on there, depending on the gap. Ready? Go. 2.8, 2.9, 2.6, 2.3. Right in there, it's slipping. Hear the rattle leave? It's slipping like crazy. That's at 78 volts. Now it's picking up speed and grabbing more, so the amp drill goes up and down. Up there it goes all the way up to the speed, way up. So that's about where I run it sometimes with the coil on it. In regen mode. that's the new motor with the clutch. Another thing I wanted to show you was what I got in the mail. Let me turn this off. Sorry about that. You can't see it out here, so I'll have to bring it inside. But for a second. Alright. I got this one in the mail. Now originally I had this coupler where this clutch goes in. I had this bushing, this machine bushing, to shim up the difference between the motor and the drive coupling hole, which I believe is 5/8. I think it is. I think it's 5/8. And this thing that I got in the mail is similar. Right, it's a little bit off, so I'm going to have to shim it up a sleeve. But this is my new clutch. Now this clutch comes off a home light, but it has a post, and it has a real nice bushing in there, brass bushing, and it goes all the way up in there, not just a little bit on the end. It's a real nice, strong, real strong, keeps it from flopping, you know, that little bushing, that pilot bushing in there. And so here's like, okay, this is out of a Poland, 38 cubic inch Poland. That doesn't go to that at all, but yet it fits right in there, because all these little weed whackers and all these little gadgets, it's close. Anyway, see it drop right in there, and I can use that. And you can find this stuff piecemeal all over the internet. $5, $6 for that. Oh, by the way, I was setting stuff around on this table before I dialed it in, and all of it was vibrating off. I couldn't keep anything on this table. But now when I fire it up, if you didn't notice, it's smooth as silk. And so I got to start up again. I got to try another test, right? That was full speed ahead again. So you've got to have a clutch. If you're going to do testing on motor generators, you got to have a way to keep that motor winding from getting damaged all the time. And that's my opinion. Now you can do it with, I guess people think they can do it with other means, which I don't know. Not all motors will let you do that. And what I'm about to tell you is they have these pulse. Oh, we're going to pulse that motor. We're going to pulse it. And that pulse is generally not enough power to overcome the cogging in many cases. I mean, to get these coils with multiple coils on, even one single coil, if the cogging is borderline sometimes on trying to get it started on lower voltages. When I tried to start it with that variac right there, or these batteries with an inverter, forget it. That thing draws all kinds of power on the meter. It wants to draw 80 amps on those batteries. It wants to draw 8 amps on this meter. And that motor's a 2.7 amp motor. and it's drawing at 7, 8 amps, then 6, and then 5. You smoked it. And if you're trying to use a small motor, which you should be doing, you should be using a small motor like you're doing, just like I'm doing. But you can't get it up to speed past the cogging with that small motor unless you have a starter. And this is equivalent to a starter. You could have a secondary motor to get the momentum of this heavy wheel, see that heavy wheel there, up to speed. And I thought, well, I'll reduce the power to it, or I'll pulse it, I'll get a circuit, and that little motor just does not have enough power to get that up to speed unless you turn it on and run it. So that clutch does takes out all of the problems that you may or may not encounter, but you need that because you're constantly starting it up. Oh, okay, I'm going to do another startup, right? Well, now as it turns out, every time I start it up, it gets higher. Watch. See, it's at 3 amps, and then down. It was less than that. I can make it 1 amp if I want, if I oil it. But I'm not going to oil it every time. Okay, we'll turn it off. That's pretty much the best right there. You can oil it, but you're going to have to create an oil guard if you do that every time. And I don't think that little bit of extra is going to damage it. Not like 7, 8 amps on startup for a whole 15 seconds, and then in 2 minutes later it might, if it feels like it dropped down to the design amp draw, it's over, baby. Your motor is going to smoke.